nothing is done, you will go initiate
We
legal
will go to
proceedings.
court. We will go to court on it.
And so to compel them to set up this ecclesiastical court.
Yes.
Interesting.
Because it is a violation of Section 42. It discriminates.
So how this will be constituted will eventually be determined, or...
Oh, we already have a bill that we attached the letter.
You know, when we talk about discrimination, let's go back to discrimination before we come back to this theocracy issue now. For some, they also argue that for the male gender, they also see that particular section of the Constitution as discriminatory because they're not, well, explicitly mentioned as to when they too can actually renounce their citizenship if they are married or not. So when they say, well, a woman or someone is deemed fit to have been maybe a mature person when you're married, they were actually referring to the female gender, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's another discrimination against the male gender.
Yes.
But these issues, well, when we have a whole lot of people, a whole lot of minds in the assembly, in the Senate, one would have thought that one of these should have been brought to them. And if you look at the letter written by Olisa Agbakoba, it doesn't seem as if it's getting any attention, at least before the public.
Yes. But I think some people within or a lot of people within the Christian community have started taking up this issue. Because for me, it's actually something we should take very seriously. You know, because if we've provided for people of a particular faith, I think other faiths should also be there should be provision for them.
Do they also have it in their religion? If we speak,
yes. In fact, I was even shocked myself when I
you talked about the Buddhists, for instance. Do they also have their own legal system?
I think so. At least for the ecclesiastical and Christian courts, I was amazed at the quality of their jurisprudence. So their jurisprudence is as good as any other jurisprudence. So why should the system not take care of them?
So are we eventually going to have what, Christian banks as well, or what?
If we have Sharia banks or Muslim banks or customary kinds of banks, why shouldn't we have Christian banks?
Wow.
So that's the point I'm making. We have to make up our minds as to the nature of constitution we want. Do we want a secular one, in which case all matters of faith will be removed completely from the constitution? Or do we want one that is theocratic, in which case we will carry everybody along? Christians, Muslims, and those who practice customary law.
What does it say as it is now, the Constitution?
No, that's why I said as it stands now, the Constitution itself, the Constitution contradicts itself, because in Section 10 it says it prohibits any form of state religion, and then when you read further you begin to see Sharia courts of appeal, customary courts of appeal, and all. So for me, I find it a bit contradictory. That's why I said we are trying to have it both ways, which is not possible.
Yeah, but I mean, how come lawyers haven't pointed this out years ago? Because I mean, this is part of what you all thought in jurisprudence and all of those. They list all of those, how the courts are
but you also have to understand that we are evolving as a country, and our constitutional evolution is also taking place. So it's as we practice these things that some of these things come up. So if the Senate did not bring up Section 29(4)(b), a lot of people will probably not have even thought about it. So, but now that is an issue,
was an aside of the Senate, yet it grabbed a lot of attention.
So we're evolving constitutionally.
Well, in all of that argument, or in all of that brouhaha, did you understand what the Senate were actually trying to do? Or were you also caught in the mix of, well, they were trying to legalize early marriage?
No. Even when you read the entire section, from the beginning to the end on citizenship, you realize that it has nothing to do with legalizing child marriage. No, it's about renunciation of citizenship.
But again, I wonder why, as a country, we're still somehow, well, what is not seem to be catching the attention of what exactly it is.
I didn't get the question.
For instance, what exactly is not the news seem to be what gets the attention the most.
And that's why I pointed out when we started that the problem is the nature of constitution we want. The problem, that's where the problem is. What kind of constitution do we want? And I think that's where what our policymakers should be paying attention to. What kind of constitution do we want? You know, they should answer these fundamental questions before even deciding to start altering and deleting and adding.
But they say they're doing all those alterations or review based on what the people say they want.
No. You have to have an idea of what you intend to achieve first before you even put the question to the people. You don't just put the question to the people. People, of course, have different needs and demands.
Yeah, but I thought they listed the areas that they thought people should vote that they wanted to amend.
Yes, but the fundamental issues they've really not addressed it. Issues, for example, of devolution of powers, you know, which is very, very important. Should we have state police?
It was all part of.
But are they? How do I put it now? Are they doing it in a way that would, you know, carry everybody along or reflect the realities of?
I think that's the argument now. Does it really carry everyone along? Because remember, it was the Lagos State governor who actually asked a whole section of Lagosians about if they actually voted for this and that, because at the end of it all, what they finally saw in that big book was that, well, maybe perhaps, it was as if people manufactured some of those votes, if we were to go by that particular result. So is it that when the people speak, I don't know if you've, were you in any of those fora?
Yes, I attended the Senate public hearing, in somewhere in Ikeja.
In Ikeja.
Yeah.
Well, the outcome, are you privy to any of the outcome concerning some of those votes?
No, not really, no.
Because that is where the problem will definitely come up from. Because if you were a member of such and finally you don't get access to know the outcome, for instance, if you had a resounding yes to a particular move concerning the review of that particular constitution, and you get to hear the result at the end of the day that it was a resounding no, then you can actually query that. But now nobody gets access to any of that.
Yeah, but you see, the challenge with that is that we had public sessions in like almost all the is it 300 and something federal constituencies, that's in the House of Reps, and we also had, about 6 in the different geopolitical zones. So when you harmonize all those views, it may be difficult to actually say who won on this or which section of the country had their way on.
But if it's made public, for instance, you say, constituent or constituency 1 actually had this on this particular matter, and you say constituency 2 had this on this particular matter. By the time we do a collation of everything, we should be able to know the true mind of the people.
Yes,
but we haven't actually pursued that, because it is. Otherwise, we just might be going back to where we're coming from.
Yes, because I know there was this. I know at the House of Reps there was this controversy as to what transpired, the votings and all that, and some of the issues. I don't know how that was eventually resolved, but I think, like you said, I think it would have been nice if the National Assembly had
because the governor of Lagos State is also a senior colleague, and he says, they should ask to see their question papers or their results. And it sounds funny, but that's how it should have been, isn't it?
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think the National Assembly would have done the country a lot of good if they had actually published, the voting pattern and what each constituency voted for, and then allowed Nigerians to be able to harmonize all the positions and then know which ones sailed through at the public sessions and which ones didn't sail through at the public sessions.
So that suggests that at the end of the day, even if the National Assembly concludes with the review or amendment, as they call it, you will still have dissenting voices.
Yes. The Nigerian Labour Congress, for example, is threatening to go on strike over the issue of minimum wage.
They're trying to move it from the
exclusive to concurrent. Yeah.
Oh dear. What do you think about that particular one? Where do you think that if that happens, states...
Personally, I think it doesn't make sense to me, for the federal government. Yes, personally, I think that it really doesn't make sense for the National Assembly to be fixing minimum wage for states. It doesn't make sense.
They're not fixing it. They're moving that function.
What they are doing, what the National Assembly is trying to do is to move minimum wage, issue of minimum wage to the concurrent list. And when that happens, it means that